The area's most well-known places to honor our past military heroes host a celebration commemorating Veterans Day. The Smoke Brothers host an event at the LZ Peace Memorial at Rockford's Midway Village. The Smoke Brothers are a social volunteer group of more than 30 veterans, most of whom fought in Vietnam. The ceremony started with an observation of the national anthem and a raising of the flags. Then some veterans shared their experience during war and post-war. Also, loved ones shared their gratitude and appreciation.
Very grateful for the weather. It seems like the guy upstairs takes care of us one way or another. And the brothers really have a good time when we're together. We have a few coffees and sometimes a good cigar once in a while. So it's just great to share the day.